Welcome back to The Last Boot, the channel where football is more than a game. It is passion. It is pain. It is glory. It is heartbreak. We tell the stories behind the moments that shook the world. The tears. The triumphs. The players who gave everything. And the ones who lost it all. I am so glad you are here today. If you are new here, please subscribe and join the Last Boot family. We are growing every single day and I do not want you to miss a single story. In the entire history of football, with all its heroes and legends and moments of breathtaking brilliance, there has never been anyone quite like him. Not just because of what he did with a football, but because of how he did it. With a smile. Always with that smile. Ronaldinho Gaucho. The magician of football. The player who reminded an entire generation why they fell in love with this game in the first place. And this is his story. Ronaldo de Assis Moreira was born on the 21st of March 1980 in Porto Alegre in the state of Rio Grande do Sul in southern Brazil. His father João worked at a shipyard and was a passionate amateur footballer. His older brother Roberto, known as Assis, was a professional player who would later become Ronaldinho's agent and closest confidant. Football was not just something the family did. It was something the family breathed. Tragedy struck early. When Ronaldinho was 8 years old, his father drowned in the family's swimming pool. It was a loss that shook the family to its core. And it was a loss that Ronaldinho, by his own admission, carried with him his entire career. He played for his father. Every single game. By the time Ronaldinho was 13, he was already famous in Porto Alegre. Not professionally, but on the streets and the futsal courts and the cage pitches where Brazilian football finds its soul. He signed for Grêmio and made his professional debut at 17. And even then, even in those early professional appearances, you could see something in him that was different from everyone else. It was not just the skill. It was the joy. Most young players are nervous, tense, trying so hard to prove themselves that the game becomes a test rather than a pleasure. Ronaldinho played like a child who had just been let out to play. Like every touch of the ball was a gift. Like every match was the greatest thing that had ever happened to him. Paris Saint-Germain signed him in 2001. And Europe got its first proper look at what Brazil had been keeping to itself. But it was Barcelona where Ronaldinho became a god. From 2003 to 2008, Ronaldinho at the Camp Nou was the most exciting spectacle in world football. Full stop. No argument. He won 2 La Liga titles. He won the Champions League in 2006. He was FIFA World Player of the Year in 2004 and 2005. He won the Ballon d'Or in 2005. But again, trophies and awards cannot capture what Ronaldinho truly was. There is a famous moment from a Champions League match against Chelsea in 2005. Ronaldinho received the ball 30 yards from goal. He looked up. He hit it. First time. With the outside of his right foot. It curled. And dipped. And bent around the goalkeeper, who was perfectly positioned, and went into the top corner. The goalkeeper Petrasek, one of the greatest in the history of the position, just turned and looked at the ball in the net. He did not move. He could not move. Because what do you do when someone does something that should not be physically possible? You just stand there. And you shake your head. And later you tell your grandchildren that you were in goal the night Ronaldinho did that. And then there was the night at Old Trafford. Champions League group stage. Barcelona vs Manchester United. In the Theatre of Dreams. In front of 70,000 people. Ronaldinho scored 2 goals. Both magnificent. The second a free kick from 40 yards that looped over Roy Carroll and into the net. And the Manchester United fans, the most passionate home support in English football, stood up and applauded him. Gave him a standing ovation. The opposing player. In their own stadium. It had never happened before at Old Trafford. It has never happened since. For Brazil, Ronaldinho won the 2002 World Cup. That tournament, that glorious Brazilian summer in Japan and South Korea, featured the moment that perhaps defines him most. A free kick against England in the quarter-final. From a ridiculous angle. Almost on the byline. He looked up at the goal. He looked at the goalkeeper David Seaman standing on his line. And then he chipped it. Over Seaman's head. Into the far top corner. Seaman backpedaled desperately. Got nowhere near it. And stood there, hands on hips, staring at the sky as if asking the universe for an explanation. There was no explanation. There was only Ronaldinho. His later career was not what anyone hoped. AC Milan. Flamengo. Atletico Mineiro. The body slowed down. The magic became occasional rather than constant. But by then it did not matter. Because Ronaldinho had already given football more than most players give in 3 careers. He had already produced moments that will be watched and rewatched and shown to children who were not yet born when he played them. He retired in 2018. With a World Cup winner's medal. With 2 Ballons d'Or. With the love and admiration of every football fan on the planet, regardless of which club or country they supported. Because Ronaldinho belonged to everyone. Not to Barcelona. Not to Brazil. Not to any club or country or generation. To everyone who has ever loved football. To everyone who has ever watched this game and felt their heart lift at the sight of something beautiful. He played for his father. He played for joy. He played with that smile, that enormous, infectious, unstoppable smile that told you everything you needed to know. Football was not work to Ronaldinho. It was never work. It was the greatest gift he had ever been given. And every time he stepped onto a pitch, he gave it straight back to us. The magician of football. There will never be another one. That is it for today's story on The Last Boot. If this video moved you, please give it a big thumbs up. Share this with every football fan you know. Hit subscribe and join the Last Boot family. See you in the next video. Until then, keep the passion alive. You are a true fan.